Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Luke from Guild Umbra. We're slowly starting to wake up, so we're gonna, in this video, talk about our second build, which is more of a multi-target build for the DPS Engineer. And before I go into abilities, let's talk about stances again. The stance that you should be running as a DPS Engineer is Mode Irradiate. It's passively increases our damage by 35% while decreasing our resistances by 7% across the board. Its active is basically what it does is a 10-second duration, 2-minute cooldown, and it increases our volatility 10 per second for 10 seconds, and it does upon activating a tech damage AoE to 3 enemies. So again, it's nice innate, somewhat long cooldown, but it's something in our arsenal that we can use to increase our damage. So anyway, enough about that. Let's dive into abilities. First ability I have here is Electrocute. It is a channel spell. Other abilities that are off the global cooldown can be used during it. So things like Quick Burst. So if I get a critical hit on my Electrocute, I can use a Quick Burst and it will not interrupt Electrocute's cast. Okay. But Electrocute, it deals damage, technology damage, to 5 foes every 0.5 seconds. And for every tick, it takes 8 volatility. So it's not something you open with, it's more or less something that you use when you have a good amount of volatility built up. So I'll talk a little bit about our rotation, but and then maybe later on in the video I will also go over a leveling build I found. If I was running the Engineer as a DPS, what I would be using. So a little off topic, but anyway, moving on. That's what it does. It's a spender. The next ability I kind of already talked about while I was talking about the first one, but it's a quick burst. It's an on proc critical hit. This ability comes available, and you can use it. It's a small conal AoE telegraph, and like I said, it's on proc, whereas electrical is more like a line telegraph. Next ability, Artillery Bot. I kind of already talked about this in my last video, but it's one of the bots that we can spawn as the Engineer. It does decent physical damage to 1 foe every 2 seconds. But you also gain access to an AoE ability called Barrage, which, when you activate it, it lands on a target and it does a AoE field around that target that's capable of hitting up to 10 foes. It's a pretty nice ability. There were some bugs in the past where our bot would get one-shotted by bosses, but Carbine's already stated that they're going to work something out to where boss we don't have to keep respawning our bot because he gets one-shotted by telegraphs. So pretty nice ability when they do fix that. But until then, keep in mind that when your artillery bot is not out, he's not doing damage, and you don't have access to Barrage. So, just some FYI. Energy Auger. Now, I didn't talk about this last time. I like the way the ability looks, but I honestly don't like the long cast time. And the fact that it puts a field down where in big movement fights you're not even going to get the full effect. Okay, early on I could see it being alternated between Bioshock and this, or Bioshell and this spell to build your volatility up, and then Electrocute spam. But what it does is it deals damage up front, physical damage to 5 foes, creates a 30-meter field for 3 seconds, and generates 30 volatility. Foes inside the field take technology damage ticks They're relatively small ticks, so like I stated earlier, it's not a huge ability that I use all the time due to the cast time and due to the fact that people who have brain cells in PvP will move out of this. And in PvE situations, there are a lot of situations where you will be moving the boss to get out of telegraphs or mechanics. So it's not an ability that I like all that much, but I have it in this build. Bioshell is a freaking awesome ability. The telegraph it's along this lines of it's a line telegraph. It goes up to 25 meters, and at the end of the telegraph is a little circle. So based off where your mobs are in that telegraph, the one closest to you will get hit, who's standing on the telegraph, and get the debuff technology resistance. Okay, it does damage up front and applies that debuff. So tiers, real quick. The tier 4 electrocute is it gives us empower, increases technology damage by 2.5 second, percent per stack. Can stack up to 3 times, so 7.5% increased technology damage. Yes, sir, I will take. Artillery bot, tier 4, same reason we took it in our last build. It grants you and your artillery bot an empower, which increases your critical hit chance by 6.5%. The tier 4 energy auger, each tick will apply a wound, meaning the field on the ground, applies a wound to foes for 3 seconds. The wound deals technology damage every 1 second. So it applies a stronger dot on them. Next, the tier 4 for Bioshell. While between 30 and 70 volatility, you can cast this instantly. So again, it's very, very nice ability. Typical rotations will be, due to our reckless dash, typical rotation would be to dash twice, cast my Bioshell instantly, and that should get us right around 70 volatility. You pop your innate, which I talked about at the beginning of the video. Start your electrocute along with your, you pop your innate, then you pop your gadget if you have one. Start your electrocute, and then at that point it's pretty much balancing our volatility to see, well, if there's a proc of quick burst up, we go ahead and use it because it doesn't use volatility. And that pretty much covers the rotation and assault tree abilities and tiers. We'll dive into utility. Zap again is a very important ability, and as soon as possible, I'd like to get it to tier 4. Simply because it destroys interrupt armor, gives us a chance to get those moves. But the tier 4 gives us a chance to, well, not a chance, it destroys 2 interrupt armor, whereas the base cost is, or the base ability only destroys 1. So again, that would be something I would be focused on as soon as possible. Diminisher bot, I kind of see where this is now being used. It's another one of your bots that when you create it, it deals technology damage every 2 seconds around run one foe. While active, you gain access to Strobe. Strobe deals technology damage to 5 foes every 1 second for 4.05 seconds. Creates a 25-meter field that applies a snare to all foes within it. I see now the point of having this bot and using its active. Because, in situations where you have multiple mobs and you need to burn them down, AoE wise, this is one of the abilities that you would use. Okay. Um, Volatile ejection, again, I don't see a reason not to take this. It's just too good of a ability. Pretty much you use this on cooldown as it comes up. So, but what it does is it grants a defense and power to yourself for 10 seconds, which is the defense increases deflect critical hit chance by 10% and increases critical hit chance by 10%. So again, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't want to take this ability. Okay. The amps are basically the same. So what I decided to do was also talk about a leveling spec real quick, if you can bear with me. Again, you'll notice a lot of the same abilities, if not all the same abilities, um, that I had in my multi-target build I just did. Electrocute, then quick burst, artillery bot, energy auger, bioshell. The tier 4s and tier 8s are for the same reason. Real quick, electrocute. Those affected by blind or stun receive additional technology damage every 0.25 seconds. So, not a bad tier. Same reason we took the tier 4 here is for the increased critical hit chance by 6.5%. And we added a few more points in there so that our bot is doing more damage to foes. So, Bioshell, again, we want that instant cast when in between 30 and 70 volatility. So we tier that sucker up as much as possible. Where it differs from this last build was that I take a bruiser bot just to add CC and allow some form of taunt to give me a break and allow me to get back at ranged and destroy the enemy, and allowing my bruiser bot to tank them for a few seconds. So not bad. Again, we take zap and we take volatile injection. So this covers like a basic leveling build, and the rotation pretty much stays the same. You double dash, shoot your Bioshock off, or if you don't want to do that, you want to save your dashes, you start with energy auger, and then maybe dash back and do an instant Bioshell. You can like stun and do a barrage with your artillery bot, or you can do electrocute, use quick burst on cooldown. So you got a lot of options, and hence why it's a good, pretty decent leveling build. Gives you enough CC to be worthwhile if you're soloing, and still you don't sacrifice much damage at all by using this build. So it's one I would highly suggest. So, but anyway, the amps are the same. So again, I won't go into them. As you can see, this is a pretty static couple builds that I've done. There's not a lot of changes to the amps. They're all centered around giving us the most damage possible. So again, I won't go into the amps at all. But in the current state of the game, the engineer, I'll talk about that for real quick, seems to be, getting some love now. And I know for a while people wouldn't even want to roll a class, but it seems like they're getting a lot of love in the game. I will say this, that I am highly against running flavor of the month classes. And what I mean by that is each month, each class or a certain class will get buffs while other classes get nerfs. And so resist the temptation to re-roll classes just because Carbine decided to nerf this class. Okay, it would be, to me, in your best interest, to pick a class that you enjoy playing and you enjoy the play style of it, and stick with it. Don't vary too much off of it. I had a problem with that, and I wasted a lot of time where I could be sticking with one class and getting a 50 and enjoying the in-game content with my guild. Um, and so it's one of those things where I think the engineer's in a good place at the moment. I think they're probably in the best place they've been since launch, or excuse me, open beta. And I like them. I do. I like them a lot. I'm interested to see how the new changes from the patch notes are affected in these builds, and to the engineer itself. And I'm still very excited about this game. This is going to be the last video I do for a while, as far as the overview of the classes. I'm going to be running a DPS Esper at launch, so a lot of my focus and energy is going to be spent trying to make sure I have the most up-to-date videos there, and guides that I can get out. Again, if you're new to WildStar and you're interested in playing it, I would highly suggest getting a guild. Getting it and playing it with a guild, because there's just so many things that really just make the game better as a result of playing it with people who are doing the same thing you're trying to do. It's so much more fun that way than just running around single player soloing everything. So that would be my suggestion to you guys out there who are new and kind of, I don't know if I want to try WildStar or not. If you're gonna really try it, get into a guild, man. It's called a multiplayer online MMO for a reason. So, but anyway, if you guys like my videos, and you're a YouTube user, hit the like button, and also give me some feedback. I like to see some constructive feedback. If you're going to be a dumbass and put stupid stuff down there, I'm not going to listen to it. I will probably delete it if I can. So, but if you also a Twitch user and you want to be alerted for when I'm creating more videos, follow me on Twitch. My username is BigDogLB. And again, this is Luke from Guild Umbra, signing off. A little sad that I won't be able to do as many videos as I used to. My focus needs to be a lot more put on to the class I'm going to be rolling. So, but I'll still continue to put videos out, guys. And if I get some good feedback from you guys on YouTube in the comment section, I'll maybe look into making a couple videos based off what you guys want to see. So, but anyway, had a fun time doing this. I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.